Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Najadir.
What does that
What
mean?
does that mean? I don't know.
I don't even know where it's from. Where have you got it from?
It's a meme. I don't know what that means, but
It's a meme.
my brother keeps saying it. Najadir. Sorry if it's rude. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Should we look it up? I don't even know how you spell it.
No.
We'll just leave
anyway.
that. We'll just leave
Yeah,
that.
carry on.
It's been said now. Just wanted to tell a quick story
Oh, gosh.
from this morning.
You love a story, don't you? Such a storyteller.
I am a bit of a
You
storyteller.
are. Prides herself on
I
a
love
good
telling a story. Because you can just, exaggerate a bit and make it sound even more dramatic.
Okay, go on then.
Well, it's more just to open up a bit of a discussion. But I was telling Rach this morning, as I was getting the train, I reached down and flicked one of my Primark stick-on nails off. Because I'm bougie like that.
Nice.
£1.80 Primark nails. And then the train was quite full, so I kind of looked down. There was 4 people in the middle aisle bit because all the seats were full. It's like 4 people standing in, those bits where there's no seats. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I can just see my nail on the floor and I'm like, I would quite like to pick it up because then I could stick it back on when I get home. But it felt really awkward to bend down and pick it up. I don't know why. And I was getting in my head about it, so I just left it.
Did anyone see the nail go fly?
I think they did, yeah.
Ooh.
I think that's probably why I felt awkward because they've all just watched that nail ping off my finger. Anyway, go and sit down when a seat becomes available. And then as I'm getting up, I'm thinking, my nail might still be there. And praise the Lord, the doors have just opened at Birmingham New Street Station and my nail is just there, like in the middle of the carriage. There's probably 20 people waiting to come on the train, but I'm just like, I don't care. I'm bending down, picking it up, put it in my pocket. Great, can glue it on when I get back home.
This is just like, I feel like this is exposing. I don't know why.
Yeah, well,
I'm just visioning you rooting around on the dirtiest train.
I wasn't rooting around. I saw it and I picked it up.
No,
I'm not on my hands and knees like, where's the nail? Going through the bins. Firstly,
my nail. I just think it's even the fact it's pinged off.
It's my middle finger. Do you think if you saw someone and their nail pinged off and they picked it up, would you judge
probably
them?
pick it up for them.
Oh, there's your nail, mate. Would you judge them? For
No,
that?
because I think, basically, if it was like their real nail or something like that,
and
it was just disgusting, then I would be a bit like, oh, that's made me feel quite sick. If I could see that it was clearly just like a stick-on nail that's just pinged off, no, I don't think I would. I think I'd just find it quite funny. There's just something really funny because I think you put on stick-on nails to look more put together. And to look more bougie and to look like elite, and then they've pinged off.
No,
it's just embarrassing.
It also just sums up like stick on nails.
Yeah.
Like you're trying your best, but
And it just reveals like this like dirty nail underneath.
Do you know what though? I learned a fun fact yesterday. Shout out to my friend Scarlett who told me this. So she works for the BBC. She said she had to do a news report on cost of living crisis, stuff like that, and basically found the kind of take home point was that basically every other business is struggling because of the cost of living crisis, apart from nail salons, which are still thriving.
Why are they still thriving?
Don't know.
That's so interesting because you would think that nails would be one of the first things to go.
But
in terms of people's lives, like really, like you're going to pay 30 quid to have your nails done.
I just think for some people it's the same as buying food. It's falling into the essentials category.
Yeah,
it's not a luxury. Yeah. It's like no, that's part of,
I've never.
That's part of me being a woman.
A lot of my friends,
it's like buying pads, tampons.
They never have their nails. Like they can't even remember having natural nails exposed. Like it's just.
Well, you do get trapped in the cycle.
Yeah.
As soon as you had your nails,
they ruin your nails.
They look grim. So you're like, well, of course I'm going to get nails again because they look horrible if I don't have them on. Then you're stuck.
But like, come on, it's not an essential.
I genuinely think some women...
It's not an essential. In the same way that buying food to eat is an essential.
Maybe not buying food, but I think maybe it would be the same as... I'm trying to think of a
No, I think it's like having a haircut. Something like that. It's not essential. Well, actually, no. I think it's even less than that. It is a luxury at the end of the day to go and get your nails done.
Yeah, I think it is, but I don't think other people do.
Yeah, fair.
I think for some women, it's my rite of passage, which I agree with. It should be a rite of passage.
And to be fair, it depends what report that is comparing it to in terms of, are they looking at like hairdressers and things like that, or is it more?
Yes, it's good to think about these things.
That was a lot of my degree research. All you geographers out there.
So I think they should just introduce some sort of grant which gives women an extra 30 quid a month on top of their wage that just allows them to go and get the nails done. So
I
they don't have to
personally
buy
think there may be
£1.80 Primark nails.
Pressing priorities, but yeah, you go for that.
Yeah, maybe there is, but
you write.
I've said that now.
You write to Parliament.
Hey, Rishi. I would love to be able to get my nails done each month.
Okay, guys, right. Thanks, Soph, for that story. Do let us know, guys, if it's just Soph whose fake nails ping off on the tray.
But I would also highly recommend transitioning to the stick-on nails.
Right, we needed that morning realness, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
You can just trust me to bring some good content to the podcast.
Okay. Today's episode, everyone. What are we calling this episode?
It's right there on the notes.
It's not just you who struggles to balance their friendships and their boyfriend. It's just not the most catchy title.
No, it's not.
But
Might
you
have to
know
work
what?
on that.
The
title will be different.
Yeah,
anyway
we'll
on
change the
Spotify,
title.
so.
But
Something clickbait like, I ditched all my friends for my boyfriend.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, nice.
But today, essentially, we're talking about that classic struggle.
It's a tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. The two sides of it. You've got into a relationship and you're struggling to balance your friendships with your boyfriend, or your mate's got into a relationship and you're finding it hard that you don't have as much time to see them.
It's like begging for a scrap of attention. Please, sir, could I have 1 hour of your time?
Do you remember in the good old days?
Remember me, sir? Your old friend Soph.
Yeah, there's two sides of the coin, but it's a struggle for both, I think, both parties.
I think probably more the friend.
I think probably more. No, do you know what, guys? We are going to use ourselves as a bit of a case study in this episode because
I love that. Case study.
It is something that we are living through.
We're living and breathing.
We're living through.
It's a sign of the times.
So yeah, we're just going to talk a bit about that today. How we can both deal with it.
Navigated it.
How we've navigated it safe and rage.
Yes. Where to begin?
Yeah. Well, why don't we just talk about our own experiences?
Share your truth.
Share your story.
Go on then. You start.
Yeah. Well, I guess to set the scene. Soph's single. I'm in a relationship. That involves. Do you remember when we did that reel ages ago? On Instagram, that was like when one of you's in a relationship and the other of you isn't.
Gosh, bring that back. That was probably like 3 years ago.
Post that on the stories. No,
don't.
No, let's not bring that back. Anyway, and I would say we currently, at the time of recording this episode, are probably right in the midst of the transition.
We're in the heat of it.
I'm in a fairly new relationship. So
I'm fairly old to being single.
And I was single for a good 2 years. So I think we got used to the both of us being single. And now we're transitioning into the one of us being in a relationship. But I would say, again, gosh, this is kind of on-air reflections. I would say that it's going okay.
Would you?
Oh.
No. I'm joking.
No, but as in, I think there's a key difference compared to when we've done this before, of our lives are already slightly more separate.
Yeah.
I would say that if Soph and I right now were living together as we were, or in the same jobs as we were, and spending like intense amount of times together, it would feel like more of a change. And I think it does still feel like a change probably, but I would say it probably feels less than it would have done. But I would say that for myself, with other relationships and friendships particularly like my brother who I live with, it probably has felt like more of a change because, you know, it's affecting their everyday life more.
Yeah. I think that's it, because in reality, we'll see each other in the week to do podcast stuff, and it's not just you, Soph and Rach stuff. But then apart from that, we don't actually have loads of crossover because we don't live together anymore. We don't work together. So
yeah, so we would have to be intentional basically about hanging out anyway.
Yeah. So in that sense, it's not changed loads. But like we were saying, if it was going back to the time when we did live with each other, you just notice it way more because suddenly they're in your house, they're going out more.
Yeah,
like you see where they're going and how they're spending their time. Whereas I don't really know how Rach spends her time.
Yeah.
Unless she tells me.
Yeah. So what would you say, like, have you noticed any changes? Or
Yes.
what would the main Yes, I have actually.
Just get my list out.
What do you think would be the main changes when I or someone gets into a relationship?
I think it is, realistically, the main thing is just the time thing, isn't it? And I think that you've just got to be so much more intentional with, okay, well, I'm more speaking on your behalf here, but I guess from the friend as well, but being intentional of just, okay, so when are we going to hang out? Because there's just not as much freedom of, oh, what are you doing tonight? Nothing. Oh, sick. Let's do something. Because it's just less likely. Or, oh, do you want to FaceTime? Or, oh, do you want to call? I think all those things which were maybe just a bit more spontaneous, or you could just rely on them being free at the weekend, or even just, I don't know, like going away, trips away, or stuff like that where it just takes up more of your time. You just have to be aware of all those things, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. I would say even like chatting with my brother or other people, the biggest change I'm realizing is like the intentionality around time and planning, because I think we've said this before, but some people get into a relationship and they're really happy to just see their boyfriend. I am not like that.
I am not.
I am not happy to see my boyfriend. No, but as in like I still really love hanging out with my friends and want to prioritize that. So I'm like, oh, okay, this now actually just requires some like quite intentional planning. And I think the big thing that goes sometimes is some of that spontaneity, because on a weekend where you may not have had any plans, you may now have planned to see your boyfriend or to see your friend and vice versa. So then like, even from the perspective of seeing your boyfriend, if you spontaneously are seeing your friends all the time, then it's like, oh, I've not seen them. So there is definitely a planning element that comes into it of like, you actually just, and like, if you're a spontaneous person, that is quite hard, but it's just the reality. Like, okay, I've only got these hours outside of work and everything else that I'm doing. I need to see my boyfriend. I need to see my close friends. Therefore, I'm going to have to be intentional, reach out. When are you free? When are you free? Like, and plan it a bit more. And like, I think that is quite hard sometimes, even from the friend's perspective of like where they could just call on you and, you know, spontaneously hang. That might not be the case. But unfortunately, that is just the reality of like there being another person that you need to spend like good quality time with.
And I think from the friend side of it, it's having to acknowledge fundamentally things are going to change. I think if you're trying to kid yourself going, oh, no, it can be just like it was before, it can't. Like, the fundamental thing is your friend has 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, and that's going to have to get split up. And their boyfriend is going to become a priority in how they spend their time. So you have to just acknowledge, yeah, things are going to change. And I think it's okay to just almost, it sounds dramatic to say mourn, but it's okay to initially just be like, I feel quite sad about that. Like,
yeah,
it's almost like an end of an era, kind of realizing, oh yeah, things are going to change and I can't do anything about that. And just giving yourself permission to be like, oh, that kind of sucks because I really love spending time with my friend and I'm probably not going to get to do it as much. It's not, you know, sure you will still get to spend time with them. It's not like you're never going to see them, but yeah, like just acknowledging that's kind of sad.
And I think we've even had chats around like for each other, or where you do find yourself in a really close friendship, like with me and Soph, there's also like a bit of the just getting your head round, oh, there's now another person that you're also really close to. So like almost like your go-to person, like just trying to wrap your head round, okay, there's now someone else that's also like significant in that person's life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because nothing's changed for you. Yeah. So you're thinking, well, you're still my go-to person, but then your go-to person has a different go-to person. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or another one. So
yeah, I'd say it's an addition rather than a replacement person.
Yeah, not necessarily a replacement, but where you're like, oh, nothing's changed for me. I still see you as the person that I would go to in a crisis, or, you know, I'd want to tell you everything, share my life with. That person has another person that they're trying to do that with. So I think that can also just feel strange, where it just feels unbalanced.
Yeah. And just again, like the time that takes, like you almost feel that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you might feel like, oh, I have one really close friend that I want to share stuff with, but they've got to do that at least twice.
So it affects the time as well, kind of thing.
Yeah. But then when we were chatting, we were talking about how actually from the friend side of things, it's a really good opportunity to just, I was going to say take stock. Take stock of friendships. But essentially just have a bit of an assessment of, okay, one of my close friends has got in a relationship. I'm not seeing them as much. Who else do I have in my life who I actually can go deeper with now, or I want to invest more in, or I can make sure I have around me to just have a strong community. Yeah. So the pressure's not solely on this one person to be everything to you, but actually you've got a few people, few close friends around you. So yeah, if you say, oh, you know, had a rubbish day, can I give you a call? And they go, no, you can call someone else.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're not just waiting for them to be like, whenever you're finished with your boyfriend, can you ring me? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's about having the people that can be, you know, supportive and good friends as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I think also just in the transition of like everyone adjusting to the new norm, like I would say on like both sides, it is just important to kind of have grace per se, or like try to put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
Because like realistically, it's not going to be completely simple in terms of you start dating someone, that is just a change. And like as people feel the change, you in the relationship and your friends, that will come out in different ways and look different. And I think a big thing I've just been trying to do or learn is like, okay, I actually feel quite frustrated here, but like, can I actually just take a minute to stop and think, okay, how would I feel if I was, you know, my friend or that other person? I would probably feel the same. And trying to almost see the bigger picture of like, okay, their emotion may be playing out in this way, but actually deep down it's just because they want to like see me or hang out with me or spend time with me, and that's a really beautiful thing. So how can I actually, you know, respond to that well rather than just getting annoyed, kind of thing?
Yeah. And I, again, from the friend's perspective, it's having that grace. I think especially at the start where we've spoken about, you know, first few months, very much honeymoon phase, probably want to see each other loads. And I guess maybe not necessarily that the time will drop. I don't think it should drop in terms of they see each other loads at the start and then it gets less. But I think everything's just a bit more intense, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so you just have to, where you can, be happy for them and just be like, flip, my friend's having the best time. Like, she's just got in a new relationship. She's loving life. But also kind of just trusting that the honeymoon phase will kind of
die.
Well, not die, but I think you
dwindle.
Just everything just settles down a bit, doesn't it?
You get into a routine.
You start to establish a routine of when you're seeing them, when they're seeing their boyfriend. Things just feel a bit more normal. I think at the start it can all feel a bit like, you know,
what is going on?
You will just adjust to how things are, and your friendship will adjust as well.
I think that's it. I think even where I've been in a relationship before, like I don't look back on that time particularly as like, ooh, you know, take our friendship, like me and Soph weren't close then we were close when I was single, then we're like,
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. Like there's always been a real depth of friendship, and like I wouldn't say it hugely affects it.
You just have to adjust.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I guess for someone listening, maybe who's right in the middle of like their friend having got into a relationship and you're just thinking it's never going to be the same. Yeah, it might not look the exact same as how it has, but you don't need to like discard the friendship because of it. Like actually, if both of you are being intentional with your time, in a couple of months, you genuinely won't be able to remember what it was like before.
And also, kind of hate to break it to you, but friendships change all the time for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
So maybe this is the first change you're going through in your friendship, but there'll be other changes that come. Like for us, we've had so many changes of living together, not living together, working together, not working together. Like, and other stuff aside from that, you know, this is one change out of many. It's not all just related to whether they're in a relationship or not. And so I think it's even just a good moment to acknowledge friendships shift and change the whole time, and so you're constantly having to readjust friendships for all different reasons, not just because they're in a relationship or not. I think this is a big one, but it's not the only change that your friendship might see.
So true, girl. Okay, so if you had to kind of give a list then of just some little points that you would say to anyone out there who is their friends just got into a relationship, how would you summarize that for us?
Okay, so I've made my list. 3 points. A lot of stuff that we've already touched on, but the first one on there is accept that things will look different and that's okay. And that's something generally I've been having to tell myself this last year, 2 years, is change doesn't equal bad. Change is sometimes difficult to navigate and can feel weird, but it's not the end of your friendship. It's not, gosh, you know, they were the glory days and now we're in the crap times. Like, it's change and that's okay. Like I said at the start, acknowledge it, feel it, but trust that it's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. Things will sort themselves out.
Amen.
If you're both willing to put in the effort, be intentional and prioritize each other, then you will find a way.
So good.
Yeah. So
true that.
Point 2 on my list is where you can be happy for them. I think it's so easy when, especially change of any sorts, but yeah, in this particular instance, your friend getting in a relationship, I think it can be so easy to become quite bitter or resentful or view, I don't know, even just go into like, oh, you know, they don't care about me or they're not trying hard enough or I like them more than they like me, and just quite a lot of negative talk or negative thinking. And actually, at the bottom of it, I mean, assuming they've got into a relationship with someone that's good, it's a really happy moment for them and it's a great thing that's happened in their life. So as much as you have your own feelings and your own experience, trying to push that aside a little bit and not let that get in the way of you celebrating your friend is another thing that I would say.
Which I will say you've done very well.
Oh, thanks. Yay. Okay, last thing on my list is trust that you'll adjust.
Trust that you'll adjust.
Trust that you'll adjust. And again, we kind of touched on it, but essentially just trusting and having faith that your friendship will establish itself again. And like we were saying, it's not that when they're single you can be close and when they're in a relationship you can't. Your friendship doesn't have to change at all in terms of depth or quality. It just needs to adjust.
Yeah.
And it will.
And it will.
So there we go.
That's brilliant. And then on the flip side, I guess, for the person in the relationship and just navigating it well, number 1 would be plan your time well. Be intentional about the way that you're spending your time. Plan in time to like hang out properly, have quality time with both your boyfriend/girlfriend and your friends.
Yeah.
Kind of try and get a good split and be prepared and plan it in advance. Number 2, initiate hanging out. You know, I think it's not on either of you, the person in the relationship or the friend who's not, to do all the initiation. Ideally, it would be both of you. But I think yeah, particularly if you're the one who now has more limited time, it probably just makes more sense that you initiate quite a bit as well, because like you're the one who, you know, knows when you're free and when you're not. But I do also think it's important for the friend as well to like express that they want to have that quality time with you, you know. Kind of works both ways.
It does. But I think another point is, from the perspective of the person that's got in a relationship, I do think there is something in setting that tone. I think particularly at the start where, yeah, like say it's 50-50, both initiating, but from that person that's in a relationship, just really showing, hey, look, I know I've got in a relationship, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to spend time with you or see you. And I'm going to show you that by
initiating,
being intentional and initiating stuff.
100%.
So not that it's all on them, but equally I think that's something that you can do that just really helps your friend feel like, okay, yeah, they still want to see me and care about me.
Definitely. And then final thing, try and see things from their perspective, which, as I touched on, is just important when it comes to dealing with little tensions or emotions. You've just always got to try and think, okay, what's actually the deeper thing going on here for them, and how can I sympathize with that or empathize with that and understand where they're coming from, because usually it is just out of a good place of wanting to hang out.
Boom.
Boom shakalaka. Boom boom.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah.
So yeah, guys, hope you found those thoughts helpful.
We'll keep you updated with how it's going for us.
I was going to say straight from the lives of Soph and Rach and what they're navigating.
Living and breathing.
Overall, though, I'd say doing pretty well. I'm yet to hear that come out of your mouth. If you could just end the podcast by saying that,
Rach is
amazing.
Amazing. She's so good.
Ooh, yeah. So
I'm just a big joker, I am.
Yeah.
Just trying to put her on edge.
Okay, guys, have a great week.
Yep. See you in the next episode.
See you in our next ep. Ta-da!
Bye.